there, my name is Jasmine Sky, and I am here today with the start of a kind of unexpected vlog. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll already know this, but I ended up setting aside the drafting of my space fantasy story because I am going to be doing another revision on my Witch YA, which is the book that got me my agent, and I have a lot of really exciting revision plans that I talked over. I sent my agent a 7-page outline with the revision plans and she approved it and we are all good to go. So I'm gonna be on a pretty quick timeline with this because it's a good time for me to kind of kick my butt into gear and get this done because I get quite a lot of time off. Since I work for a university, I get a lot of time off over winter break. I get from the 23rd through, I have to go back to work on January 4th. So that is my timeline. I want to finish this revision by January 3rd to give it to my agent on the 4th. And that means I have 21 chapters to revise in 18 days. Though, of course, some of the chapters don't really need that much revision and some of them need a lot of revision, and that's just the way it goes. But we're gonna do that. And like I did with my last revision vlogs, which I'll go ahead and link below, my draft 4 and draft 4.5 revision vlogs, I'm going to do it by word count in terms of like the word count that has already been revised. And then I'll also say where I am on the chapter side of things. My aim is to keep the general word count about the same as what it was, which was like 97,000. So somewhere between the range of 95,000 and 100,000 is fine. If I am, over 100K, that's not very good. I do not expect to be under 95K. That's not really my problem when it comes to drafting. These later revision processes tend to just, they always want to expand. So I cut a lot of stuff to make room for the revision, and we'll see how that ends up feeling once we get up there. And yeah, that's the plan. So it is currently Thursday, December 17th, and again, I have until January 3rd, so 18 days. I did already start the first chapter because I had a lunch writing session with my friend. We've been writing together, which you'll know if you've been watching my space fantasy blogs, that I have a friend who's in the process of drafting a new middle grade, and I was drafting my adult space fantasy, but now I'm going to be revising this novel. So that's my project now for the next 18 days. So yeah, I already started chapter 1. I'm not done with it. I have revised 3,514 words, and I've got another like 1,500 actually of new words that I'm adding into chapter 1. So that's what I have to do tonight. Hello, good morning. Is it morning? I guess it's morning. It is Friday the 18th, and I didn't update you guys yesterday, apparently. So this is my update from yesterday before I do my writing for today. I ended up not finishing chapter 1 yesterday, but I did edit half of chapter 2. So I did like half of 1 and half of 2 yesterday, which I guess that works, but today my plan is to definitely finish chapter 1 and also chapter 2. So all of those, and then maybe also possibly chapter 3 because chapter 3 only is gonna need very minor tweaking. So it should be pretty quick to finish it. And I'm feeling pretty energized today. So we'll see how much I get done here during my lunch break. I'm gonna have a call with my friend and we're gonna, get cracking, get some writing done. But first I have to finish my food. So I'm gonna do that. I finished chapter 1 and I think I'm really happy with the changes. I have a new promise to the reader at the end of chapter 1 from what the last draft had. So I was a little nervous about how well I could do it, but I think it's good. I'll have to reread the whole thing, of course, and make sure that, it sounds good after a little bit of distance after I finish, revising all the way through. But I do want to finish chapter 2 tonight after work because it's not going to take that much, just kind of little edits to finish it, so I will check back in later tonight. It's much later, but still Friday. I didn't forget to update you guys this time, and I successfully finished chapters 1 and 2. I ended up going back to chapter 1 actually because I was talking today with my girlfriend, and I realized one of the threads that I had in the previous draft just doesn't fit anymore with my revision idea for this draft, so I had to cut it or alter it anyway, and I had to go back to chapter 1 to like fix the setup of that thread that was in chapter 1, which is better in the end because I feel like I started too many things. There was too much going on in chapter 1 and I needed a little bit less there so that I don't overwhelm readers. So I'm glad that I am cutting that thread and slash changing it to something that isn't quite so hard to explain, but will still have the same impact, I'm hoping. And yeah, so I have done, let me do the math. I have now made it through 9,573 words of the book. So we're getting there. I will do chapter 3 and hopefully 4 tomorrow because it's Saturday and I have the time. You want to come up on my lap? Come here. Oh my goodness, this dog is desperate for a walk, but I'm gonna update you first and then I'll take him out. So it is Saturday the 19th and I just finished writing and it was great. I did chapter 3. I actually went back again to chapter 1 because I realized I had cut a paragraph that I needed. I needed it slightly differently, but I don't know. I went back to chapter 1. I keep going back to the beginning. I don't know, I feel like because I'm so late in the process, like I have this sense that like the beginning needs to be perfect. So I keep going back to chapter 1. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, I finished chapter 3, so that was great. Tweaking it, editing it. It was, you know, not too different, but the beginning was different. And then the main part of chapter 3 was the same, basically. And then I am now on to chapter 4. I wrote one completely new scene. It was a very short scene, but I wrote it and I started another one and I tweaked another one. So I would say about halfway through chapter 4. Chapter 4 is like a lot of little scenes that kind of are the transition from acts 1 to 2, sort of. And I will finish chapter 4 tomorrow and maybe push on to chapter 5 as well, depending on how much time I have tomorrow and how long chapter 4 takes me. I'll at least start chapter 5 probably, but I don't know that I'll finish it because it's got quite a bit of revision to do too. One of the things I'm doing with this revision is I'm cutting a character entirely. So, you know, I just realized that she was just dead weight in the plot. She really didn't need to exist, and she could be combined with some other characters in terms of like the scenes that did actually matter with her. So I need to do that, and she's introduced in chapter 5 right now, so I need to cut her and figure out who's taking her place in that scene, and that's going to be part of the revision from here on out. So yes, it is Sunday the 20th, and I just finished like a 2.5 hour writing session. And I finished chapter 4, which was great because it was a lot of new writing with this revision, but it's done. I started on chapter 5, but the first scene of chapter 5 is like a convoluted mess right now, and I need to figure out how I want to order things in such a way that keeps the momentum up. And it's like logistics, and I don't want to bore people, but I also need to explain stuff for the people that want to know, like the logistics. Like me, I'm always someone who loves logistics in books, so it's like a balancing act. But anyway, I will figure that out. I'll think on it the rest of the night and tomorrow morning so that I can hopefully get through chapter 5 tomorrow, because it's not a lot of new stuff, it's just a bit of a reorganization of stuff. I am now through 18,362 words of this book, which is pretty nice. We're getting there. We're getting close to 20K. Of course, we've got 95-ish thousand total, so got quite a ways to go, but we're only on day 4. It is the 21st, Monday, 21st. It's pretty late at night, but I just finished up for the day. I got through 2,000 words of chapter 5, 2,097 to be exact. And I also went back with the first 4 chapters and did a little more editing. I just keep fiddling. I'm so worried about what this revision is doing with the pacing of my first act, and if it's boring, and I don't want to info dump too much, but I also got to get this information out, and I don't know. I'm too close to it. I can't really tell. But yeah, it looks like I cut 180 words out of chapter 2, but then I added 287 to chapter 4. So really, I added like 100 words there. So, 2,100 words today edited. It was fine. It is Tuesday, the 22nd, and I am officially on break from work. I work for a university, so I get the entirety of starting tomorrow through New Year's off, which is great because I've got a lot of work to do on this revision. I had an idea today to try to increase the tension because I talked about how worried I was. I think I talked about it, how worried I was that this revision had kind of pulled tension out of that break into Act 2 section of the book, but I figured out how to fix that, I think, but it's a pretty big change. I'm like adding a character in, which is, yeah. So I had to go back to chapter 2 to kind of weave that in and make that a possibility. So I just went in today. I just spent the last 3 hours revising chapters 2, 3, and 4 again to do that. So now they're done. I have no idea if they're even halfway decent. I am overthinking everything about this book right now. But I'm gonna actually send the first 4 or maybe 5 chapters to my agent tomorrow. She said she wanted to read them to see how the revision was going and to see if she approved of these big changes that I'm making. I just got out of the shower, but I can't stop thinking about this book, and I just wrote another 594 words, not in chapter 5. They're like, what is this? Like chapter 18? I just jumped ahead because the scene just popped into my mind, and it's messy, and I don't have any of the transitions or anything. It's just a whole bunch of dialogue on the page, but now it's there, and I can come back to it when I get to chapter 18 in like 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm actually gonna stop now. Like, stop, Jasmine, go to bed. It's Wednesday afternoon, and I sent the first 4 chapters of my book to my agent this morning. She read it, called me, we talked about some of it, and she sent me back her notes, and I am pretty excited. I think we're on the same page with this revision now, and she said she likes it. She's excited for it, so that's really good. And I just need to go through these notes and kind of polish up some of the first 4 chapters with what she said, specifically in regards to my main character. I always have this tendency to kind of make my characters more logical than they should be, especially for YA. Like, she needs to be a kid. She needs to be a teenager. She can't be so aware of, like, just things. So, not to say that she needs to be, like, totally irrational or illogical, or that teens can't be smart or, know things. But perhaps it's a little too sophisticated, a little too of my own authorial voice coming in. So Mary pointed some of that out. Today, while I was waiting for Mary to get back to me, I ended up revising the first scene of chapter 5 again. I re-revised it with my, like, new addition that I mentioned yesterday, and it's much better. I like it a lot. And then I also did the next scene in chapter 5, so now I am into back to where I was, farther than where I was when I had this new thought for this revision, and I am ready to push forward. Like I said, Mary and I are on the same page. We kind of have the sense of what this is going to look like as I pull through all the threads. Merry Christmas Eve, everyone who celebrates it, or even if you don't. I hope you had a wonderful December 24th. And it's quite late. I did not update earlier, but I did not get done what I wanted to get done this morning. I ended up just, going back through chapters 1 through 4, just to, make sure that things were all good with the notes that my agent had given me, and I'm really happy with them now. I think I'm totally set to move on. I just had to change something that she wasn't super excited about that I had put into them, but she was right. It wasn't what needed to be there, and I cut it out. And then I had to spend some time this morning with my friend / critique partner trying to talk out a different issue that was going to come up in the next chapter, but we figured it out, so that's great. But anyway, the point is, I didn't even finish chapter 5 this morning before I had to go do Christmas Eve stuff. Before I went to go do Christmas Eve stuff. And yeah, I was over at my parents' house for like 9 hours. So that just was what it was. But I did edit up the beginning of chapter 5 again to, like, pull through that, polishing those notes that my agent had given me about the first 4 chapters, and they feel really clean now. It feels good. And then I started the last scene of chapter 5, and it also feels good. It's just not done. I have another 1,000 words to go. Ooh, that color balance is terrible. Fix yourself. There we go. Hello. It is now Saturday, I don't even know what it is. The 26th. It's Boxing Day. Yes. And I wrote for most of the day. I mean, I took a break. I think I stopped at 2:30 or 3, and I took a break through dinner, and now it's 8, and I'm gonna go take a shower, but I do need to get back to writing. I still have another 1,500 words to write, because I have to write basically 2 chapters a day in order to finish on my deadline, which is a lot, especially when they are chapters that involve a lot of new writing because of the revision, which is the case for this chapter that I'm on, chapter 6. I did finish chapter 5 this morning, but then I started chapter 6 and I got about halfway through. So now I have to finish it. I have just 2 more scenes left, 2 short scenes left. So it's not gonna be that difficult. I just have to put in the effort. But I think I wanna take a shower first and kind of let it, start brainstorming, start getting the lines of dialogue in my head. It's pretty late, but I finished chapter 6 and I am feeling really good about it. This revision, I added this whole nother element. I deepened the part of the political situation kind of, and it's yes, I feel really good about the ending of that chapter and how how it's gonna kind of have ripple effects throughout the rest of the book. So let's do the math real quick about how much I have revised. I have successfully revised 27,635 words of my approximately 95,000, which is 29%. So I'm getting close to a third. I will definitely hit a third tomorrow. Good morning. It is almost noon on Sunday the 27th, and I did good progress this morning. I think I finished chapter 7 completely, and I just finished the first scene of chapter 8, though I do think chapter 8 is going to involve more rewriting than I had originally expected, but at least 7 was relatively easy, just some minor tweaking, but that is what it is. I had to kind of rearrange the scenes a little bit because I had to move the first scene of 8 to the end of 7 because of some cutting, so that means I'm probably going to have to move the first scene of 9 into 8, or I need to add something to 8, which might take a while, but we will see. Hello there. It's pretty late on Monday the 28th, and I did kind of scattered work today. I almost finished chapter 8. I have like 500 words left, but those 500 words lead into the first scene of chapter 9, and I just want to like do it all together tomorrow because I just do. But I did go ahead and do the second half of chapter 9 also. So yeah, scattered work today, but we're gonna call it good, and I will finish 8 and 9 tomorrow. So for those keeping track, you might be like, Jasmine, how the heck are you finishing this by the 3rd? The answer is I'm not. I emailed my agent and I ended up asking for an extension. I'm gonna give myself until January 10th because the more time I take on this revision now, the less I'll have to polish later, and I need that space because this is a hefty revision. I'm changing some really significant things. It's going well, it's going at a good pace, but my initial schedule was so ambitious, and especially when I had to step back and go back over the beginning again and again, it's just too much now. So Mary has agreed that I should give myself some breathing room, and I think that'll really help me be productive and not as stressed out with this revision. So January 10th is definitely a hard deadline now though, because I have to start doing stuff for Author Mentor Match on the 11th because that's when submissions start for AMM. So that's a really good kind of goal to strive for, I guess. It's like a very tangible way for me to say I have to get this done, I have to keep on schedule, but it's a much more realistic schedule than trying to get it done by this Sunday. It gives me one whole more week to get it done, which means I only have to do about a chapter a day instead of trying to do 2 chapters a day, though I will end up doing like a chapter and a half some days because there are some chapters coming up that are gonna take me more time. So the chapters that won't take me as much time, I'll try to get like a chapter and a half done so I can do that, because there might be some days when I only end up doing like half a chapter a day. So, but again, this is why like I need that breathing room, because I wanna give those chapters the time they deserve to be a good version of themselves. Maybe not the best version of themselves, because no book is ever perfect and there's always better ways to do stuff, but a good version, not a bad version. So, hello there. It is midday on December 29th, Tuesday, and I just finished my lunch writing session with one of my critique partners, and I finally finished the end of chapter 8. It ended up being 879 words, and I'm happy with it. It's one of those moments when you torture your protagonist a little bit, but it was good. It was, it needed to happen. So now hopefully tonight we're gonna write again together after dinner tonight, because I can be pretty bad at getting myself motivated to actually write at night when I don't have the like accountability. So can she. So we're gonna go ahead and Skype again and do another virtual writing session after dinner together. And hopefully, if things flow as well as they just did, I'll be able to finish the first half of chapter 9. And since I already did the second half of chapter 9 yesterday, that means I'll be done with chapter 9, and that'll feel really, really good. So that's the plan. Also, I think I'm gonna end up making this the last day of this vlog and go ahead and post this revision vlog in 2 parts, because I have a sense that it's getting a little long, and since I did just expend my deadline, I have like another 10 days left. So I'm gonna go ahead and split it up in 2 parts, but not quite yet. We're gonna do one more writing session tonight before I call this vlog a close, and we'll see if I can meet my goal of finishing chapter 9 before I go to bed and before the end of this vlog. So wish me luck, and let's go see if that's gonna happen. It is now 10 p.m. and I made good progress today. I finished chapters 8 and 9. I ended up writing 2,420 new words today I had to cut from those chapters, so I added almost 2,500 new words to those chapters. So that felt really good. I think I'm happy with it, and I'm happy to be just under halfway done with this revision. So definitely glad that I asked for that extension, because being under halfway done, if I only had till this Sunday, would be very scary, but I have another week and a half. I have plenty of time to get the last half of this story revised. At this point, I have revised through 41,346 words. So it's a good number for those first 9 chapters, and now I have chapters 10 through 21 to go. But as I said, I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog here, because I think this is a good stopping place. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I have links, as always, in the description below to causes that need your support. You can also support my channel by liking or subscribing. And with that, I look forward to chatting with y'all in the comments.